Beacon's one of the most useful items in Minecraft, with the ability to give you effects like haste 2, regeneration, speed, and so much more. But beacons only have a radius of 50 blocks, so to cover my whole base with them, I'd need dozens of beacons, which would take hundreds of hours to get all of the wither skeleton skulls to get them. And that is why today I'm going to make a wither skeleton farm so I can get unlimited beacons. And luckily for me, this farm barely uses any materials, so I'll only need to collect some obsidian and nether bricks. So I grabbed my one and only beacon and headed to the end to collect all of the obsidian. I think I might have got a tiny bit too much obsidian, but it's fine because I'll definitely be using it in the future. But now the last thing I need to collect a lot of is netherrack to smelt into nether bricks to make nether brick blocks. And now that I've got all of this netherrack collected, I just gotta go and smelt it up. And so far I have been able to get most of the nether bricks I'm going to need. I'm going to need to fill up this entire thing that is left with nether bricks, but for now it'll do. But while the rest of that is smelting, I've still got a few more obscure materials I need to get. And for the first one, I'm going to head to the mesa. And the reason for that is because I'm going to need a few cobwebs, which if you didn't know, I don't have shears. And now that I've actually got shears, I can collect all of these cobwebs. And there is all of them. But now I'm going to keep my shears and go find some turtles. Oh my gosh, this is the coolest terrain I've ever seen. Just look at that. Wow. Oh, finally found a turtle. Oh, don't tell me it's just a singular one. Okay, no, there's another one over here, so I'll just need to bring them together. But first, I'm just going to collect a tiny bit of this seagrass. But now, if I give both of them seagrass and open them up to this area, they should hopefully plant some eggs. I'm keeping a close eye on you two. And it looks like they are planting some eggs. Thank you, turtle, thank you. And with that, I've officially got all of the materials I'm going to need to build this wither skeleton farm. But now that I have got all of the materials, I'm going to need to find out where to build it. And the thing about this farm, which you probably know because pretty much every hardcore YouTuber on planet Earth has built it, you need to find a very specific place. And that is a soul sand valley. It needs to be at least 100 blocks away from any other biomes, and preferably in the middle of a lava lake. And I think that this fortress here is going to be perfect. Now I'm going to be honest with you, I used chunk base to find this. I didn't just fly around and find it because I spent a few hours searching and I could not find anything. But for those of you who don't know, chunk base is not a mod, it's just a website where you can see all of these different structures on a map when you put your seed in. And because I was so paranoid of me building it and then it didn't even end up working, I went on the same seed as my world and went ahead to build it just to make sure it worked. And luckily for me, it works perfectly. So the first thing I want to do is build over to the middle of 4 chunks I've located over here. So now I need to build up and place some chests on the inside of this area. And now I need to build out 14 in each direction with nether brick to form a square. I've only been able to fill in half of this, but I am out of nether bricks because, surprise surprise, I left half of them in the auto smelter. So to collect the rest of them, I'm going to have to mine up this fortress. That should be enough. And now that I've got all the nether bricks I'm going to need, let's finish filling this in. Now the next step is to head up to the nether roof. But now I'm here on the coordinates that my portal is down there, and I need to build up to Y209. And once I reached the needed height, I began building the top part of the farm. And that is the entire farm built, except the last thing I need to do is remove all of the torches from down at the actual farm. Except to do that I need to get below the bedrock, which means I'm gonna have to fly all the way back to my house, get the materials to do that, break the bedrock, and then actually remove the torches. Now I've got all of the materials to break bedrock, except I forget which block I came up in, so we're just going to do a random one and hope it works. I just came up here to get the obsidian to break the bedrock, except some wither skeletons have already started to come through. But I'm still going to remove the torches just to improve the rates. Oh my gosh, I found one that had this block gone, except there is another piece below it. Are you kidding me? But I don't think I'm going to actually need to break it. I think what I've done is all I need to do, because I can just use the ladder and ender pearl to get back up here when I'm done. And now I'm down here, I just need to break all of these torches. But with that, I would say that the wither skeleton farm is complete. So all I have to do now is AFK here for a few hours until I get all of the wither skeleton skulls I'm going to need. And just from being here literally like 1 minute, I've already got enough for one full beacon. So I don't think this is actually going to take that long. It has been about half an hour and I have managed to get a stack and about a quarter of wither skeleton heads. But I also got a bunch of bones and coal, which are also going to be very useful. But before I can kill any withers, I need to collect all of the soul sand I'd need to spawn them. And now that I've got all the soul sand I'm going to need to spawn these withers, I'm going to head to the end to kill them under the end portal. You might think it is a bit cheaty to kill the wither like this, so I'll tell you this. If this video can get 5 likes, in the next one, I will kill 3 withers at once on the nether roof. But now that I am at the end portal, I'm going to dig down. And now that this area is done, let's spawn in a wither. And just like that, we've got our first nether star. So now I'm going to do this until I have used up all of my wither skeleton skulls I've got. But now that I have got all of these beacons, I'm going to need to collect some blocks to power them. And I am going to use iron for that scene, as my iron farm has got quite a bit of iron piled up. And in my iron farm, I've had a bit over 18 stacks of iron blocks there, which should be enough for a decent amount of beacons, except I am still going to need quite a bit more. But luckily, iron is not the only block that can power a beacon that I've got access to. Because for my beacons thus far, I have been using gold because I have got a gold farm as well, which is not as productive as the iron farm, except I can go around my world and collect all of these golden beacons so that I can reuse them. And from that I was able to get 11 stacks of gold blocks and a few more stacks of iron blocks, except that is still not going to be enough for all 30 of these beacons, so I'm going to AFK at my iron farm until I can get all of the blocks I'm going to need to power my beacons. And that has brought my total of iron blocks up to almost an entire shulker box, which when combined with all of my gold blocks I've also collected should definitely be enough. But even though I've got all the materials I'm going to need to make my full level beacons, I don't want to build them just yet. And that is because I don't want to do what I did before with just having a bunch of beacons laying around my world. Instead, I want to make a bunch of towers and have the beacons coming out from the top of them. So I headed into a separate creative world to plan the tower. And I've already got most of the materials I'm going to need to build it, but I'm going to need to get a bit more deep slate and dark oak wood. And just like that, I have got all of the materials I'm going to need to build this tower. But now that I've got all the materials, I need to decide where I want to build the first one. And I have been eyeing down this spot behind my house and the useless house just here, because I haven't really done much behind there and I've sort of blocked it off with the back of all these buildings. So I think it would be good to start expanding to this area. And here it is. It is not the most grand tower in the world, but it is not meant to be, because I am going to be building a bunch more of them, except for the moment I've only really got the materials to build this one. And on the inside there's not really too much, it's just the beacon beam going all the way to the top. And in the middle here we have got a thing going all the way down to bedrock, so that I can have the beacon effect no matter what level I am on. But before I can continue to build these towers all across my world, I am going to need to collect a bunch more materials, because I completely underestimated how many they would take to build. And there are all of the materials that I'm going to need to build a bunch more of these towers. The main thing I need to keep in mind when deciding where I want to build them is that the effect has about a radius of 50 blocks, I believe. So we can go 50 blocks from where the tower is, and in that whole area I will have the effect. So that means that I want each tower to be about 100 blocks away from each other. So I think if I put one here right next to the barn, that would be great. And then I think another one here next to the trading hall would be appropriate, or maybe even behind the trading hall, because it doesn't need to be super close to it. And so I set off building these towers in my town. And here they are. We've got this one over here next to the trading hall, and this one next to the barn, which if you look closely I sort of varied. I changed the height of the windows here and the overall height of the thing just to give them a bit of difference, but overall they are pretty much the same. So now the last thing I want to do is connect this path up to this tower over here and fill in the gaps between that and the trading hall, because at the moment it is pretty empty. There is that path looking nice. But for this area here, I think I just want to do a nice small garden full of some tall flowers, like I did over there next to my house. And now what I want to do is bring another path going through here, and actually going up this hill here to my very first house, because you might have thought I destroyed my very first starter house a few videos ago when I built the town, but I actually built this small hut up here first while I was working on it. But now the last thing I need to do is fill up this area with these rose bushes. And now to finish it off, I'm just going to bone meal it to add in some grass and small flowers. But that is going to do us for today, so if you enjoyed then don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!